On the misty morning of October 14, 1066, a battle unfolded near the town of Hastings that would permanently reshape the landscape of English society, politics, and language. The Battle of Hastings, fought between Harold II, the last Anglo-Saxon king of England, and William, Duke of Normandy, marked the beginning of a new era. With Harold's defeat and death, the Norman Conquest commenced, and its ripples would be felt for centuries. The prelude, a throne in dispute. The seeds of conflict were planted during the reign of Edward the Confessor, England's penultimate Anglo-Saxon monarch. Childless and shrewd, Edward cleverly used the uncertainty of his succession as a diplomatic bargaining chip. Around 1051, Edward reportedly promised the throne to his distant cousin William, the powerful Duke of Normandy. However, this pledge would later be contested, and not just by one contender. In 1053, following the death of Harold Godwinson of Wessex, Edward elevated Godwin's son Harold to the role of Earl. Over the next decade, Harold proved an able leader, building alliances and consolidating his influence. Despite an earlier oath of fealty to William, which Norman sources claim he made during a visit to Normandy in 1064, Harold was named king by Edward on his deathbed in January 1066. With support from the English nobility, Harold was crowned King of England the following day. Yet Harold's claim was immediately challenged not only by William of Normandy but also by Harold Hardrada, King of Norway, and Harold's own brother Tostig, who had been exiled. 3 claimants and 2 invasions. In the summer of 1066, Harold faced simultaneous threats. Tostig began raiding English shores, while William waited in Normandy for favorable winds to sail his fleet across the Channel. Meanwhile, Harold Hardrada joined forces with Tostig and launched an invasion from the north. On September 20, the 2 allies defeated the northern English earls Edwin and Morcar at the Battle of Gate Fulford near York. Just 5 days later, King Harold, marching with a hastily assembled army, confronted them at Stamford Bridge. There he won a decisive victory, with both Tostig and Hardrada killed in battle. But the triumph was bittersweet. It left Harold's forces exhausted. Just as the northern threat was extinguished, the wind finally shifted in Normandy. On September 27, William crossed the Channel unopposed and landed at Pevensey, establishing a stronghold along the southern coast. Harold, still in the north, now faced a second and deadlier invasion. The march south and the battle begins. Harold gathered what remained of his forces and raced south to confront William, reaching the vicinity of Hastings by October 13. With only around 7,000 men, many of them poorly equipped levies, Harold decided not to wait for reinforcements. Instead, he chose to face William's superior and better prepared army directly, perhaps hoping to surprise the Normans or protect his ravaged homeland from further destruction. William, who had been raiding the countryside, seized the opportunity. At dawn the next day, his forces, consisting of around 4,000 to 7,000 men, including cavalry, infantry, and archers from Normandy, Flanders, and other European regions, advanced toward Harold's position. The English king had taken up a defensive stance on a ridge near Hastings, forming the infamous shield wall with his seasoned housecarls and militia. Clash of tactics and bravery. The English shield wall proved formidable. William's archers opened the attack but inflicted limited damage due to the elevation and density of the English formation. His infantry, followed by cavalry, charged the ridge but were met with a brutal counterattack. English warriors, wielding 2-handed battle axes, decimated the Norman knights, forcing a retreat. Panic spread among William's ranks when rumors of his death circulated. Displaying remarkable leadership, William lifted his helmet mid-battle to reveal himself, rallying his troops. He then employed a clever tactic, feigned retreats. Twice Norman cavalry pretended to flee, luring overzealous English fighters from their secure positions. Isolated and vulnerable, these English detachments were easily overwhelmed. The battle dragged on for hours. The unrelenting Norman assaults slowly wore down the English lines. By late afternoon, Harold's brothers, Gurth and Leofwine, were dead. Then came the pivotal moment. According to Norman chroniclers and the Bayeux Tapestry, Harold was struck in the eye by an arrow and killed. Leaderless, the English army finally broke. As night fell, the remnants of Harold's forces scattered. William had achieved one of history's most audacious military victories, setting the stage for his coronation. The road to coronation. William's army marched toward London, encountering only sporadic resistance. At Berkhamsted, key English nobles submitted to his rule. On Christmas Day 1066, William was crowned King of England at Westminster Abbey, securing his conquest with royal legitimacy. Yet full control would take years to achieve. Rebellions erupted across the country, especially in the north, where William faced fierce resistance in 1069–70. He responded with ruthless efficiency, launching the Harrying of the North, a campaign of scorched earth destruction that left vast regions depopulated and devastated. By 1071, organized resistance had been crushed. William the Conqueror's grip on England was complete. Transformation of English society. The Norman Conquest profoundly transformed English society across political, social, religious, and cultural domains. Politically, it severed England's Scandinavian ties and integrated it into continental Europe, especially France, as William replaced nearly all Anglo-Saxon nobility with loyal Norman lords, establishing a new feudal aristocracy based on land-for-service arrangements. This centralized feudal system made the king the ultimate landowner, reinforcing his control. The church saw sweeping reforms as Norman clergy replaced Anglo-Saxon bishops, with Lanfranc of Bec spearheading anti-corruption efforts and monastic revival. Despite these changes, William retained much of the Anglo-Saxon legal and administrative systems, preserving shire courts and local governance while introducing forest law and trial-like combat. Culturally, the conquest triggered a linguistic shift. Old English declined in favor of Latin and Anglo-Norman French, relegating English to a spoken vernacular until its literary resurgence in the 13th century, heavily infused with French vocabulary in areas such as law, governance, and culture. The Bayeux Tapestry. The Bayeux Tapestry, an embroidered 70-meter-long narrative, provides an extraordinary visual account of the events leading to and including the Battle of Hastings. Likely commissioned by William's half-brother Bishop Odo, it depicts Edward's death, Harold's oath, the battles of 1066, and Harold's dramatic demise. It remains one of the most important primary sources of the Norman Conquest. Legacy of the Norman Conquest. The Norman Conquest was not merely a change in rulers, it was a total cultural transformation. It redrew the political map, revolutionized England's aristocracy and clergy, and set into motion legal and linguistic changes that still shape Britain today. William's reign forged the Anglo-Norman kingdom, a hybrid culture blending Saxon traditions with continental influence. Though often brutal in execution, William's consolidation of power laid the foundations for a centralized English monarchy that would evolve over the next millennium. More than 950 years later, the echoes of Hastings still reverberate in the language we speak, the laws we follow, and the culture we share. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Battle of Hastings and the Norman Conquest, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Got a favorite historical battle or topic you'd like us to cover? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.